which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Alder, Alderman Flores, Alderman Galloway, Alderman Hutchinson, Alderman Howen, Alderman Snyder. We have 6 aldermen present. We have 4.
Okay, thank you very much. Roll call, please. At this time, we have 2 sets of minutes that we're going to be looking at. The first one is from August.
Alderman
7th.
Alder, Alderman Flores,
Oh,
Alderman Galloway, Alderman Hutchinson, Alderman Howen. Alderman present. We have 4.
okay, thank you very much. Roll call, please. At this time, we have 2 sets of minutes that we're going to be looking at. The first one is from August.
Alderman Alder, Alderman Flores,
Oh,
Alderman Galloway,
yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, you got left technology. Okay, as we said, August 7th, we had the special meeting. And so that we had the minutes that we've seen in the packet. Is there a motion to entertain that we accept the special meeting minutes? Okay.
I have a
Oh,
question.
yes, ma'am.
Where it says real concern was expressed by the board about the quality of service we are not getting from public services there, and it goes on. But then a suggestion was made by Drew to have maybe a Republic to come and address the concerns. And it's not in here. I don't know if that's important, but I just thought it would be nice if that was in the minutes.
I can put that in there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions about the special meeting on August 7th minutes? Yeah. Oh, can we do, okay, I guess what I'm used to is that we approve the minutes as corrected, or do we need to approve the minutes first?
As corrected.
Okay, that's usually how I've done it. Okay. Okay. Okay, therefore, is there a motion that we approve the August 7th minutes as corrected? Okay, okay, and okay, so to approve the August 7th special meeting minutes as corrected, motion by Alderman Alder and second by Alderman Olin. All in favor, do so by show of hands. And okay, extension. Okay, that's fine. And then the next regular meeting of August 7th that was at 7 o'clock. Any questions about those? Not seeing, is there a motion that we approve the 7 o'clock? Okay, on the, oh, yes, ma'am.
So it's page 2,
Okay.
where it says about the motion that I made and then the second. And I'm going to use that right now, that on Jake, when I get it cut out, I didn't hear. Is that right?
You're quiet, yes, I can hear on soon, but so I may have made the same motion with the person who's sure.
And it was second in the past, I thought.
Yes.
So that's missing. Is what,
That's-
okay, do you understand?
Yes. Yes. Understand what to add. Yes.
Does everybody understand the correction from the Alderman? Okay, I'm seeing, okay. So therefore, again, the August 7th regular meeting as corrected, is there a motion? Okay, and is there a second? Okay, therefore, there's motion to approve as corrected the August 7th special meeting made by Alderman Hutchinson, second by Alderman Flores. All in favor, do by show of hands. And it passes. Okay. There, as for item 5 and 6, there's nothing to deal with tonight. We'll be going to our first readings. And we'll begin with bill number 3471.
Your Honor, I move that we place bill number 3471 on its first reading by title only.
Okay, and is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion that we place bill number 3471 on first reading by title only made by Alderman Galloway, second by Alderman Flores. All in favor, do so by show of hands. And that carries.
An ordinance approving and setting the tax levy for the city of Ozark, Missouri for the 2023 tax year.
Okay, and I believe you get the floor.
Oh,
Steve.
I think Ms. Hodges asked, yeah, that I can explain this. Certainly, I'm happy to do so. Each year, the city of Ozark goes through the process of adopting the tax levy for real property in the city of Ozark. We receive that information from the state of Missouri Department of Revenue on what that tax levy needs to be. Some years it can go up, some years it can go down, but it's all based on keeping it level. The reason why it's based on keeping it level is because we had something in the state of Missouri called the Hancock Amendment. So regardless of whether or not your total assessed valuation may go up, and typically what that means is that your tax levy will go down. That is the intent of the Hancock Amendment that is in place. So although the assessed valuation for the city of Ozark goes up significantly, your tax levy will adjust downward to keep that at a level basis. So this is provided to us by the Department of Revenue of the state of Missouri. It is going to be a request to expedite tonight. The reason for that is because the city clerk has a deadline that it must yeah, thank you very much. I was going to ask that date, August 31st, that has to be over to the county. So if we receive this, we wouldn't normally, I mean, we ask to expedite it all the time because that's just when we receive the information from the state of Missouri. So, yeah, entertain any questions.
Yeah. Questions, anyone? Okay, not seeing any. Since this is a first reading, is there any comments from the public regarding for this bill or against this bill? Okay, I'm not seeing any movement from this. Again, I don't think y'all had any questions. Okay, so at this time, I heard what they wanted to do.
Your Honor, I move that we place bill number 3471 on a second reading by title only.
Okay, and seconded by.
Second.
Okay, so we're going to place bill number 3471 on second reading by title only. And it was motion made by Alderman Galloway, second by Alderman Flores. All in favor of this motion, show of hands. And it carries.
An ordinance approving and setting the tax levy for the city of Ozark, Missouri for the 2023 tax year.
Any additional comments? Okay, yes, Alderman.
I have a question. On my printed copy, it says Bill 3471. Is that important?
Did I say something?
Oh, no. Okay, never mind. That's okay.
Okay.
There's another bill where it's, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments for a city administrator? Okay. 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 No. Okay. So.
Your Honor, I move that we enact bill number 3471 as ordinance number 23-056.
And seconded by.
Second.
Okay. Okay, there's a motion that we enact bill 3471 to become ordinance number 23-056. Motion made by Alderman Galloway. It was seconded by Alderman Flores. Yes, ma'am.
Alderman Alder.
Aye.
Alderman Owen.
Aye.
Alderman Flores.
Aye.
Alderman Hutchinson.
Aye.
Alderman Galloway.
Aye.
Alderman Snyder.
Aye.
We have 6 aye votes. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Now we will move on to bill number 3472.
I'd like to make a motion to place bill number 3472 on its first reading by title only.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay. The motion is to place bill number 3472 on its first reading by title only, made by Alderman Owen, and seconded by Alderman Flores. All in favor, do so by of this motion, do so by show of hands, and it carries.
An ordinance amending the municipal code of the city of Ozark, Missouri, chapter 415 floodplain management.
Okay, this time we have staff comments. Welcome.
Good evening. I have a PowerPoint presentation, short, hopefully, and just giving a little bit of background about the floodplain management ordinance and why we have it, and then also kind of an overview of what we're doing to update it. So as the floodplain administrator for the city of Ozark, that's kind of why I'm up here talking instead of Cameron, and just wanted to do a little bit of background information about the floodplain management ordinance. So we participate in the National Flood Insurance Program, which is managed by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. This program makes flood insurance available to our residents and businesses in Ozark, as well as through the rest of the country. In order to continue in this program, we must comply with federal floodplain regulations. FEMA recently finalized their updates of the flood insurance rate maps, which are maps of the community on which FEMA has delineated the special flood hazard areas, base flood elevations, and risk premium zones applicable to the community. And I'll go into a little bit more detail about what most of those are in a slide. And they also updated the flood insurance study, which is a compilation and presentation of the flood risk data for water courses in a community. The firm and the FIS, which is the firm map, and the flood insurance study work hand in hand to help determine flood risk of a property. Because of this update, staff are presenting an updated floodplain management ordinance, as we are required to adopt a revised version of the floodplain management regulations that meet the standards of floodplain management regulations proposed by FEMA, effective the date of the firm maps, which is November 2nd. This updated ordinance was provided by the Missouri State Emergency Management Agency. Staff did some revisions, I should say, and then SEMA reviewed that for compliance. So just a quick overview of flood insurance rate maps and studies. This is the information used to assess risk of flooding on all or part of a property that falls within the special flood hazard area. So the map on this PowerPoint, that is a firm map, and that's actually like our downtown area. The Finley River is kind of in this shaded area. And so that map denotes the properties that have special flood hazard areas. These are areas, as noted on the legend of the firm. I should say, I kind of scrunched it down and gave you a zoomed in version because otherwise it'd be really hard to read because there's a lot of information on it. These are noted these are areas that can be inundated by a flood event, which has a 1% annual chance of being equal or exceeded in every given year. And the 1% annual chance of flood event was previously referred to as the 100-year flood. They've just updated terminology. So the graphic on the slide kind of gives you an overview of the special flood hazard area, which is that 1% annual chance of flood. So the entire area is the special flood hazard area. And then they also denote a regulatory floodway, which the blue is the 100% or the 1% annual chance of flooding. The hatched area on this map is the regulatory floodway. And FEMA notes that as the channel of the river or other water course and adjacent land that must be reserved in order to basically discharge flooding without causing an increase in water surface elevation more than the designated height that FEMA identifies. And we must, as a community, regulate the development in these floodways to ensure there's no increase in upstream flood elevation. So we're just trying to, prevent other places from flooding or other places in Ozark from flooding more based on the development we approve. And one of the last pieces of information on the flood is the base flood elevations. And these are elevations of the surface water during that 1% annual chance of flood, and is noted basically right here. That's what FEMA will give us additional information. It's kind of hard to see on this map, but there are little hatch marks all over the place, and that is actually each foot of difference in the flood elevations. So I know that was a lot of information in a very short amount of time. They actually have multi-day overviews of what I just told you in a couple minutes. So if you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer. But this is the updated floodplain data. So basically you have the 2010 regulatory on the left-hand side, and then the 2023 pending map. And so there's just a lot more information available with this updated study and firm map. Previously, what we had was a numbered A zone. So it's just noting the 100-year or 1% annual chance of flooding event. Now we have the in a lot of places, not everywhere in the city, but we have the regulatory floodway. And then we also have those base flood elevations. So as like you have development coming in, you have more data from FEMA, kind of giving you the risks and kind of what your standards are for development in the floodway or floodway and floodplain. And so the previous floodplain management ordinance was adopted in 2009. And I think there were some updates in 2010. And then this update revises our management ordinance to kind of take on all that data that was provided with this new study, with the new firm maps and flood insurance study. And then the regulations set forth in these set the minimum performance standards for construction of new structures or new improvements to the site, as well as substantially improving structures that would be in the floodplain. And just a quick overview, we struck through basically the entire floodplain management ordinance as it was. And so that's why it just looks like a new ordinance for you guys in your packet, because we just wholesale replaced it. So some of the major things that they did in the ordinance, again, that was provided to us by SEMA. We made some edits to it, and then they reviewed and made sure it still complied with the floodplain regulations. But the methodology section was added, and that's about how they used data to analyze the flood hazards in this area. The flood insurance rate map numbers, previously we had a few less than we do now. And so those are all the maps that are in our jurisdiction that we have to regulate to. They updated guidance for the different types of flood zones. Previously, we had the unnumbered A zones, which had less data. So now we have the floodway and base flood elevations in at least some, I would say a lot of the locations in the city. There are some that are still less detailed, but they give us they have updated those sections for guidance on how to use those new data. And then we removed some more administrative sections, just one section, but had some procedural that SEMA recommended that we actually take out of the ordinance and put that in an actual administrative procedures versus having it in the ordinance. And then there was some updates to the variance procedures, which rarely occur. We're kind of encouraged to not give variances in the floodplain. And then some of the definitions were updated to provide clarification, but also for this new data that we have and are regulating to. So I will be happy to answer any questions if you have anything about floodplain, as well as the actual ordinance.
Alderman Flores?
Just to make sure I understood. So they provide us with the data and we update our maps accordingly to them. Is that how that works? Okay.
Yes. So yeah, this is all from like the firm map and everything. Like you can go online and find it yourself. And they actually send you the flood map numbers that you are supposed to update as well. So and they make sure everything is in line. So
That's what I thought I understood. I just wanted to.
yeah, nope, you got it.
Anyone else? Okay, at this time, we'll open to the public. Anyone here want to speak for bill number 3472 or against? Okay, I am not seeing any movement. Okay, last chance for the board. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, therefore, bill number 3472 will be held over to our next future meeting. Now we're going to move on to bill number 3473.
Your Honor, I move that we place bill 3473 on its first reading by title and description only.
Okay, and is there a second? Okay. Okay. The motion is for bill number 3473 to be presented by first reading title only, and that motion was made by Alderman Flores and second by Alderman Alder. All in favor of this motion, do so by show of hands. And it carries.
An ordinance authorizing the city to enter into a contract with McGuire Iron Incorporated to drain, inspect, and clean city water towers.
Okay. And I believe we have Director Jeremy coming to explain.
Good evening, everyone. I do have a PowerPoint, just with some brief numbers on it, Jennifer, the water one. But we can sum it up really quickly. This is a requirement by the DNR. We have an inspection every year from DNR. And occasionally we try to get these water towers cleaned, not only on the exterior, but also on the interior. This is just to make sure that our public drinking water is safe, that there's no contaminants getting into the system, and that we don't have some sort of outbreak that nobody wants to, be on the news for something like that. So we recently put this out to bid. As you know, we've got 7 water towers. We only put 6 out for bid on this one. Here's a brief synopsis of what we base our inspections off of. This is actually a DNR requirement. And then these are the towers that we're doing. So we've got a total of 6 towers there. And our bids were received on the 27th of July. We were happy with the bids. Pretty big spread in the bids, though, when you go from 74,000 to over 300,000. But as we always do, we called our neighbors, we called our references, and McGuire Iron was the lowest and most qualified. And they had some really good references. And we called some cities that we knew they had worked for that they didn't even list as references, just to check up on things. And we had some good feedback there. So that, in a nutshell, is what we're going after. Again, this is kind of a routine cleaning. And please keep in mind, it's outside and on the interior of those tanks too. So these guys crawl in there with power washers and get all that good stuff, all those vitamins and minerals. That's what I call them. So, but they clean it out. And we do have a very safe water drinking, or a very safe water system. I think we're blessed with some good groundwater here. But other than that, any questions regarding this DNR requirement?
Okay, Alder.
I was just curious, when they go inside the tower, do they are they walking around with their dirty shoes?
Oh, no.
No.
They look like they're getting ready to go into space. They look like they're getting ready to go into space. They've got these suits on with the little booties and their power washers and everything. It's a very, very controlled area. And they get that. It's amazing what they get out of there. So a lot of sediment, really, because we have hard water. You get a lot of calcium and mineral buildup in there, and that just helps us clean it out.
And did you tell us how often this is done? I missed that.
The last time we did this was 2020. We get an annual inspection, and then we kind of go off what they recommend. So we're looking at right at 3 years, and that's a good, healthy program. If we can continue to do it every 3 to 4 years. And we've got some newer tanks that are in service that this will be their first time, their first go around. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Alderman Snyder.
I was just curious, with the price difference, we've seen 300,000 and 78. Is there a difference in the way they clean, or what type of materials they use, or the way that they actually cleanse these tanks? I'm just curious.
So when we put the advertisement out, we are very specific with the bids saying we want X, Y, and Z. So very technically, they should only be bidding on that criteria. Now, if they choose to go above and beyond, they didn't tell us. Some of these, I think it really comes down to the amount of work they have in the pipeline. And if they're going to get the job, they're going to make sure it pays, just like very common amongst contractors. So.
Yeah, I was just curious as to, if they were using a different system, or if they just went in more detail with the way they cleanse them. I was just curious.
Yeah, so they have to follow a meticulous program that's outlined by Missouri DNR. So they're basically across the board. They have to inspect them and clean them using certain criteria. So if they were expecting to do anything special or add anything, they should have put it in the bids. But as I said, the one that we chose, we like to go with the lowest bid. I know that we haven't a few times, and that can be a tough decision to make, but we had no reasoning not to go with the lowest bid in this case. The feedback was positive.
Right. The only thing, when they cleaned them the last time, did they come across any impurities that we need to be concerned about?
No, and mainly the sediment. The sediment buildup is the main thing. So as you're pumping in the groundwater, you can get little particulates. It's mainly calcium. We've got a really hard water, as you all know here. And that just builds up over time. That can build up in your pipes. And when those pumps kick on, it can knock them off the pipes. And the next thing you know, they actually come out of there, and I don't want to scare anybody, but they come out of there with 5-gallon buckets full of sediment that just builds up over time. Still very sanitary, still very safe, but it's amazing what you see come out of this.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Alder?
On page 9, it
Yes.
says the contract is based on up to 1/2 day of crew on site if heavy amounts of sediment are evident. Projects over 1/2 day. Projects over 1/2 day will be charged at $575 an hour. Additional days required will be charged at $2,500. Have you ever run into that where the sediment is over what they anticipated, and who makes that decision? to
I
pay?
have not. They're required to consult us if they feel like they've ran into additional sediment, and then we have to take a look at it and make sure that it's worthy of that additional expense. But I have not seen that to date. That doesn't mean it won't happen. So
Okay, but they have to tell you.
they have to notify us.
before
Yes.
it continues.
Yes. And we want justification for them spending additional dollars and additional time. We'll be inspecting this ourselves as well. We'll be very involved in this. So they'll have quite a bit of oversight.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone else from the board of Alderman? Okay, since this is first reading, anyone from the public have questions or either for or against bill number 3472? 3473, excuse me. Okay, not seeing any movement. Last time, any questions? Okay, bill number 3473 will be hold to the next meeting. We're now going to move on to bill number 3474.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to table bill number 3474 until our next legislative session, please.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion is that bill number 3474 would be tabled until our next session. This was made by Alderman Snyder. It was seconded by Alderman Galloway. All in favor of doing so, show of hands. Judge, question, should I let him ask this question first and then vote, or let him speak afterwards? Okay, I'm sorry if you had a question. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Before we vote, can we ask why?
Do you want me to?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
I can't be a sponsor of a bill I knew nothing about. And I'm asking to speak with folks involved with this bill so we can get some clarification so I can bring it before the board appropriately. I was not aware of this.
The challenge was, Director Sam has been out of the country and therefore with this, she got back this past week. And so therefore there was not time for them to get together and explain normally what they would do on the bill. She can sponsor it. So they're going to just wait till the September 5th and meet between now and then and get David up to speed.
Am I still on?
Yes, ma'am.
So by tabling it, do we lose any momentum? Do we lose anything that you're aware of?
In discussion of this procedure, talking with the city administrator, you did some investigation and you told me that.
Not at the moment, and I certainly understand the need to want to know what you're sponsoring. So I fully understand that. I think once we do talk about it and meet on it, I don't know this, but on one of these, and I'm sorry, let me make sure I know. I believe there's two of them. AT Urban. It may need to be a request next time to ask to expedite that, but I don't know that yet. And the reason why I say that is because AT Urban is already mobilized on site at one of the locations that the project is on. So I don't know. So I don't think you have an issue tabling these right now. That wouldn't cause an issue. I'm just not aware whether or not there might be a need to request an expedition at the later date, but I don't know. I haven't sat down and had that conversation either. So, but yeah, so at the moment, I don't believe so at this particular reading.
Okay, and so I understand you're wanting a table till after the next legislative session, not just the next board.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Be September the 5th.
okay.
We are, since Monday's a holiday, we'll be meeting on Tuesday, September the 5th.
But he's saying the legislative session might not have.
Let me correct that until our next board meeting, which will be on. I stand correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor that table bill number 3474 as motion by Alderman Snyder and second by Alderman Galloway, do by show of hands. And it carries. Okay. We now move to bill number 3475.
Your Honor, I'd also like to make a motion to table bill number 3475 until our next session as well. Same circumstances.
Okay, there's a motion to take for bill number 3475 to first reading, title only, to table it until the next board meeting, which be September the 5th. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Same question.
Not at this time. Like I said, I think what we need to do is get back with the contractors and find out whether or not that second one might need to be expedited at the next meeting. I just simply don't know that because I haven't had a chance to visit with them. They're expedited doing the job. Excuse me. They're mobilized doing the job right now down at Garrison Springs, and this is a Garrison Springs related project. So if they were to have to leave the site and then come back, there could be some additional cost associated with that. I just don't know at this moment. So again, I fully understand the request. I just wanted to answer Alderman Alder's question. So
Okay. Alderman Hutchinson.
So this is the pathway that the trail that goes along the road at Garrison Spring. Is that correct?
Sam, do you want to? I think this is the lookout.
Yeah, yes. It is the
I'm gonna
lookout.
try and talk. Is this the AT urban contract or the CMT contract? The AT urban contract is for the fencing, the overlook and the trail, the 88 trail inside there. That's what the AT urban contract is. They're on site right now. The other one is the CMT, which is the Chadwick Flyer spur that connects the Chadwick Flyer to the school.
So I guess my question is, so the 88 trail and the fence, it will be okay if Mr. Garrison's construction easement terminates. This
That-
has
yeah,
nothing to do.
There's
They
no,
won't
no, there's
require
no,
that
there's no
for use of that.
correlation in between those two projects.
I was just gonna clarify, I think, so it sounds like as long as we don't end up, we may have to expedite coming back on the 5th so that we don't pay a second mobilization fee since they're probably waiving that as long as they stay on site doing the work.
Exactly. We just need to have a conversation with them. We just haven't had a chance to do that. So
Understood. Yeah, because normally, they're paying to come out and set everything up. You're saving that money by not having them pull off, come right
Exactly.
back and set everything up.
Yeah.
So, I understand.
Any other questions? If not, the motion was made that bill number 3475 should be tabled, made by Alderman Snyder, second by Alderman Galloway. All in favor, do so by show of hands. Okay, and it carries. Okay, moving on to now bill number 3476.
I move to place bill 3476 on its first reading by title and short description only.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay. Okay, bill number 3476 on first reading by title only, made by Alderman Flores, it was second by Alderman Alder. All in favor of discuss this bill, this is by show of hands. And it carries.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept and enter into a contract for a Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission Surface Transportation Block Grant and Transportation Enhancements Funds Program Agreement.
Okay, and I think we'll welcome back Director Jeremy.
And I've also got some images for this from Chadwick Block. And listen, I recognize we have presented on this quite a bit lately. So I think you're very familiar with what we're trying to accomplish with the Highway 65 overpass. I just wanted you to be very sure what step this is in the process. And there's a timeline here that we're still in this 2023 timeline. We've been awarded the grant. We're working with the right of way, environmental review. We're getting going on that. And this is basically engineering and contract. So the program agreement is a contract with MoDOT to make sure that this all gets constructed. So that's where we're at with this stage. I will let you know, we'll be talking about this right again next week to enter into an engineering agreement, because that's just the way of the MoDOT steps moving forward. But things are falling in line. We've got what we need to do. We're going to get this in place. Hopefully we'll get the environment or the engineering in place. And Exhibit B in your packet actually shows a more detailed timeline that we'll be following. Timeline that MoDOT agreed to. I believe it's page 13 in your packet. So we've got several milestones that we will be working towards. This is just kind of a simplified version here. But again, we've established the budget. Please keep in mind too that this was the project that we're working with the DED on as well. So a lot of moving parts here, but we're moving in the right direction. So we'd like to get this. I'm not asking to expedite it. We've got time. I just want to get this program agreement in place so that we continue to move forward with all the other steps. Any questions?
Any questions from the board? Okay, Alderman
Just wanted to
Flores.
say I'm excited to get to the next step
Me too.
on this whole process that we've been on. So
Yeah.
every one of these steps is exciting to me.
Me too.
Anyone else? Okay, again, this is first reading. Is anyone from the public who wishes to speak for Bill 3476 or against? Not seeing movement. And last chance for the board. Questions? Okay, therefore, Bill number 3476 will be held to our next meeting. Now we're going to be running to the second reading and final passage of two bills, and therefore there will be no public opening at this time. We first are going to go to Bill number 3468.
Your Honor, I move that we place Bill 3468 on its second reading by title and description only.
Okay, and is there a second? Okay. Bill number 3468 is being on second reading by title only. The motion was made by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Owen. All in favor of voting on this motion, do so by show of hands. Okay. All opposed? Okay, therefore, it carries.
An ordinance adopting a water master plan.
Okay. At this time, we have Director Jeremy again.
Yeah, I really have nothing further to add. I was thankful that we got to talk about this in a non-legislative session, so that really allowed us to go through this, but happy to answer any questions and happy to get this plan in place. So.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Director Jeremy? Yes, Alderman Snyder.
Not specific.
Oh. Huh?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. Do you wish to make a comment, sir? Okay, go ahead.
Although I respect what the bill wants to do, I still disagree with the fact that it penalizes our folks here in Ozark for water usage. That's just the way I see it. If we can't get everyone else on board with this, I don't believe we should move forward. I don't believe Ozark should be the only entity or Nixa involved in this. And I will vote against this.
Thank you. Okay, if not, entertain Yes.
What I like to do is have Jeremy come up and speak to what this one is actually covering here.
Yes, this is actually related to the water master plan, and it's a separate issue and not related to the emergency consumption.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, I stand corrected.
Thank you.
I want to make sure.
Yeah.
Do understand where you're going.
Okay. Any other comments? If not,
Your Honor, I move that we adopt Bill 3468 as ordinance 23-057.
okay, is there a second? Okay. Okay, well,
No.
yeah, yes, sir.
No, I do second that because I want to correct myself on this. I was with the understanding it was the other one. And I do correct myself on that one. So absolutely.
Oh.
I stand corrected. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, therefore, the motion is that bill number 3468 will become ordinance 23-057. Motion made by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Snyder. Roll call, please.
Alderman Galloway,
Aye.
Alderman Flores, Alderman Snyder, Alderman Owen, Alderman Hutchinson,
Aye.
Alderman Aller. We have 6 aye votes, motion carries.
Now we'll move on to bill number 3470.
Your Honor, I move that we place bill number 3470 on its second reading by title only.
Is there a second? Okay, there is a motion that we place bill number 3470 on second reading by title only. Motion made by Alderman Galloway, it was second by Alderman Hutchinson. All in favor of voting this motion, do so by show of hands. And it carries. Okay.
An ordinance amending the municipal code of the city of Ozark, Missouri, section 14030, general guidelines regarding disposal of real property and surplus real property.
Okay. As for any clarification or on this, sir?
I'm happy to answer any questions. All I would say is, I think we did a good job of maintaining the intent of the ordinance, which is to add transparency to the bill. I think we added a little bit more transparency. We just mainly created 2 definitions of what real property would be when talking about disposing of real property. So, but again, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions for our city administrator? Okay, not seeing any.
Your Honor, I move that we enact bill 3470 as ordinance number 23-058.
Is there a second? Okay. Okay, the motion is that we enact bill number 3470 to become ordinance number 23-058. It was made by Alderman Galloway. It was seconded by Alderman Hutchinson. Roll call, please.
Alderman Hutchinson, Alderman Alder, Alderman Owen, Alderman Galloway, Alderman Flores, Alderman Snyder. We have 6 aye votes, motion carries.
Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to the reports of our officers, board and committees. We begin with the administrators, school children.
Mr. Mayor, I don't really have any new updates at this time, in addition to what was already on the agenda, but I'm certainly happy to answer any questions if anybody has any related to city business.
Okay. Any questions for city administrator? Yes, Alder.
Is the Floral Farms, is that the marijuana? Is that a?
Yes,
dispensary? Okay,
yes.
thought so. Okay, thank you.
Any other? Not seeing any. Okay, this time Park Recreation may give us report.
I promise I'm not contagious. I have upper respiratory infection. I'm on antibiotics. So I tried to tell everyone out there too. I just want to give a little update on the OC. If you look at our numbers for July, this is pretty much the time of the year that we start to trend down a little bit in membership numbers. If you look past the couple of years, this is just sort of how we always do. People get really excited at the beginning of the year to join for New Year's resolutions, and then Then they get excited because it's summer and they need to wear swimsuits and then they're excited. And then next thing you know, kids are going back to school and today was the first day and everybody's so busy. So our numbers start to decline just a little bit. I'm not in any way worried about it. We're up 26,000 for the year to date for our membership numbers. I just want you to be aware that that is something that generally trends happens. Usually August and September are one of our slower months. And then once people start getting back into the routine of like taking their kids to school, then they start going back to like focusing on themselves and getting memberships. I think they can't balance so many things at a time. And so that makes a difference. But our numbers are looking good for the year. We got a grant through DESE. It's a childcare subsidy loan. The DESE is the Department of Education, elementary and secondary education. It's for low income families. It was about $19,000. So it's a pretty good grant. And that just came from us filling out paperwork and doing stuff. The finance department's not as excited as I am because there's a lot of tracking and it's not as fun for them, but we'll try and make it easy as possible. AKC summer camp was our last day was on Friday. It was fun to see the kids. We had 314 kids this summer, a lot of kids on our waiting list, but we try to get them through as best we can. Today was the first day of after school care. We didn't lose anybody, which is awesome. I say that because kids get on the wrong buses and it's just kind of a mess after school. But it was a good day for us and we got everybody taken care of. The rest of the programs you guys can kind of look through. I wanted to give you an update on the decathlon unit. The decathlon unit is up and running right now. If you go into our facility, you can tell a difference in the entire facility. Like you 100% can tell that it feels different. If you get a chance, come by the OC and just feel it because you'll know instantly that something has changed. The blue sock isn't done yet, so we're trying to get that scheduled with them. It's come in, it's just now they're behind so many days. So we're trying to find a good time to get that installed. RT unit 21 is still on order. It's just not here yet. We expected a 6-month delay. So like I said, I really do encourage you. It has changed our entire facility. You walk in and you don't smell chlorine. You can tell it has like you can just tell that the pressure is different. And especially if you walk back to the pool area. So if any of you have any time, please stop by and I'll walk you back there. It was certified and they came in and cleared us for everything. So the decathlon monitors it 24/7. So it's an awesome system. We're happy to have it. And I'm telling you, it made a huge difference with everything in our building. So we're very happy to have that. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I agree. I could tell I did her. You was gone, but I did her. Now, I do have a question. How did you solve the challenge, which I knew you will? I know with after school programs when kids are out, I knew you made a contract with Sparta and then Ozark. Sorry.
Okay.
Then Ozark gave you a surprise.
Yes. Okay. So Ozark changed their school this year where they, instead of taking early outs on Friday, they're going to take a Monday off, which will change how many kids days off programs we offer. We were already in negotiation with Sparta because they're moving from a 5-day school week to a 4-day school week. So knew we were going to have an influx of kids coming on those days. We talked to the school. We said, yes, absolutely. We'll offer a program if you think you can have kids in the program. There are only 4 days where it's Ozark and not Sparta at the same time. So it was something that we were going to offer. So we'll offer the programs. It'll be at the OC. We had talked about possibly hosting it at the schools, but if we only have certain days that we host it there, it will make it more confusing for everybody. Like this day it's here, but then it's not here. So we've just done some rearranging to make sure that it can fit in the facility and we'll just give them some more room and some gym space and we'll just try to keep it more consistent. We find that like if you change something on somebody, it throws it all off. So it'll just be better that way. So yeah, we've been working with the school and we're going to offer those days off programs at the OC facility.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay, Director Cameron, you're next.
Yes, a few updates. Starbucks and Five Below, they are open and everything is running well. Hugh and Magoo's up on Highway CC and U-Haul along Highway 65. They're continuing on with construction. If you drive by the Huey Magoo's, you'll notice a big difference in the look of that building as they've taken the car wash and did a facelift on it. Goodwill, you probably saw a post, came out last week. They're doing an interior remodel and some side improvements. They estimated it at that time when they started about 6 weeks, they'll be closed until they reopen. Sonic along Highway NN, the new Sonic that's just across from the Ozark Beach Volleyball. They had delayed the start of their construction. They noted to us that their transformers expected to arrive June, July of next year. So they've kind of halted the construction until they get closer to line up with that time frame. One last note, staff, we've corresponded on Burger King. A couple weeks ago, we found out on Burger King, they have put that project on hold due to in October, they anticipate a new prototype building coming out from corporate. So their thoughts are possibly is just to completely demo that building and build a brand new facility. But again, we're just kind of waiting on that to come available. Other than that, be happy to answer any questions you have.
Alderman.
Sonic isn't going to get started until.
They're thinking later, maybe closer to November, December this year, of starting that construction. They're all approved, ready to go. But because of the delay of the transformer, they don't want to be sitting there with the store and waiting on a transformer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Snyder.
Yeah, with respect to the El Puente.
Yep.
That is still on hold. I mean, are they licensed and ready to go? Is that what I understand?
Yep. They same story we've been conveying is I think the only thing they're lacking is maybe a liquor license. But other than that, they're ready to go. It's upon them to just open the doors and start running. And it's been that way for several.
Who's this?
El Puente.
Oh, okay.
Been that way for a few months now.
Several months. And
Yeah.
you know, you get asked the questions and it's a building, it looks hospitable, but you know, if it's sitting there and it does us no good, you know, what do we do?
Yeah, well, our understanding is they're just having a staffing issue and with their current facilities. But no, they've had an occupancy permit ready to go for several months now.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, ma'am, Alderman Hutchinson.
James River Church, is that a school that they're working on there?
It's the youth center, I believe. It's on the eastern side. They've removed, there was like an accessory building that they've kind of taken over a little bit and changed, and they're expanding on that eastern side on the facility.
So that will empty out onto Farmers Road, then the traffic from it?
Well, yes, that'll come out Farmers Road to the north, or possibly I can't remember the road that's in front of them now out to the 65, but yes, they potentially could come out that way. And they have approved access that was in the county that approved with OSRD to have a road access out on Farmers Branch Road. I believe it's supposed to be a right in, right out only. But yes, they do have an access for relief route to come out there.
And what is UC 65 in the?
Those are some office warehousing buildings and some storage facility, not storage, but they're like a storage type facility over by the storage units. You know where the palm tree store is? So kind of back in there to the north, those industrials, there's some facilities up there, the building office warehousing.
Oh, I do have a question. Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, next Alderman Flores.
I was just gonna ask how everything was going with the dark sky ordinance with the new commercial buildings. Everybody seems to be working easily.
I'd say 20%, 30% of the applicants will have a few questions. We work through them to kind of help them understand that. A lot of the struggles are more like the wall sconce or something small on the building that they struggle with, but every one of them, we've been able to get through that, get them approved and moving forward.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, Alderman Snyder.
Oh, you mentioned storage buildings across from Apple Market. Well, behind Casey's, where they approved the rezoning. How long from building another mounds of field dirt being brought in there?
Yeah, they, my understanding, have approval to put the dirt in there. They're in the middle of getting a permit to construct those. The representative from that facility that was taking it through the rezoning process and getting it permitted left the company, and so there was a gap in information that this new gentleman had been conveyed to him. So they were struggling a little bit. They didn't realize that buffer yard was in place required. They thought they wouldn't have any landscape requirements, and I'm not sure. I conveyed to him, like, not sure who conveyed that and why, but here's our pre-app notes. Here's the board approved ordinance that requires that buffer, and so they're doing some changing of the site plan to address that. They were looking to see if it would be feasible anymore after that situation. And I don't think that we've heard back since our first round review comments.
We can get some more information, be appreciated, because it's become an eyesore. The amounts of dirt that they've just dropped in over there in the open field.
Will do.
Thank you.
And I went by, is it Acadia Bowl? Is that how you say it? The new,
Acai Bowl, I believe.
yeah, I'm not.
I'll see. Yeah.
Well, now, well,
Too
I
many
went,
people
I
chiming.
went by and met the owner, man, he's a guy, he has a store in Springfield.
Yeah.
And he said, he appreciated very much working with you all, how you made the process. He said there's some hiccups, but y'all made it so easy. And he said it was great working with you all. Because I know you don't get many compliments. You get other comments, I know.
Yeah, I
He
know.
was very in favor of y'all.
Yeah, he has been thankful to staff and has been in several times of working through the process. Believe he opened over the weekend or last week.
Yeah, last week.
Yep. And so, yeah, they're up and running now and they have a facility, existing location on Republic Road.
Yes.
In Springfield.
Yeah, my daughter loves it, but it's healthy food. Any other comments? Okay, thank you, sir. Okay. At this time, as we follow the agenda, we are going to go into closed session regarding personnel. I need a motion for us to do so.
So moved.
Okay, and second, okay, so the motion to go in closed session regarding personnel made by Alderman Galloway, second Alderman Snyder. All, roll call, please.
Alderman Alder. Alderman Snyder. Alderman Flores. Alderman Hohen. Alderman Hutchinson. Alderman Galloway. We have 6 aye votes, motion carries.
Exactly that way.
A few moments later.
Oh, you already have it. Made by Alderman Snyder, I think it's second time verbally by Alderman Galloway. Okay, so Alderman Snyder made the motion, all or second the motion. On favor of adjournment, raise your hands. Thank you.
See you next tomorrow.